Located in the East Riding of Yorkshire, with a population of over 5,700, Withernsea is a seaside resort town known for its blue flag beach, having a variety of historical sites and plenty of things to do and see. Britain, being an island, has always loved the sea. Its historically strong navy is evidence of that, but also the amount of seaside towns and love of these towns has fueled a strong coastal economy. Places that border on the coast, such as the East Riding, have many examples of thriving coastal communities. Withernsea is a fine example of one of these. Withernsea was recorded in the Domesday Book as Whitthorns, possibly meaning white thorn by the sea. This could be referring to the hawthorns, also known as whitethorns, which allegedly grew in abundance near the area. Now, it was recorded in the Domesday Book as having 14 villagers, 7 smallholders, 2 priests and 10 freemen. It was granted a market by Edward III in 1338, and it also had its own fair. It is located in an area called Holderness, which was marshlands up until it was drained in the Middle Ages. That word is thought to come from Old Norse holder, meaning high-ranking yeoman, and ness, meaning headland. Withernsea was, at first, a very small and sparsely populated place, barely 150 people in the 18th century. In 1852, Anthony Bannister, Sheriff of Hull, suggested making a railway link between Hull and Withernsea to try and make it the Brighton of the East Coast. Thus, the 18-mile single-track Hull and Holderness Railway was opened in 1854, but closed in 1964. Withernsea was a cheap and attractive tourist destination for Victorian holidaymakers, and thousands flocked here for their jollies. To accommodate this influx of visitors, the Queen's Hotel was opened in 1855. It was a 3-storey hotel, but after 1890 became a hospital and was demolished in 1999. One of the most iconic sites is the lighthouse. Did you know the first ever lighthouse was the Pharaohs of Alexandria, built in 280 BC in Egypt? This lighthouse is of course not that old, but it is pretty tall, 120 foot tall to be precise, taller than the tower at Richmond Castle. Construction took 18 months and it was opened on the 1st of March 1894. Modern technology meant the lighthouse closed in 1976. It was then reopened as a local history museum in 1989. Just next door is St Matthew's Church. The foundation stone for this church was laid in 1934 and the church was consecrated by the Archbishop of York in 1935. Just down the road is a chapel. The Withernsea Primitive Methodist Society was formed in 1948 and the chapel built in 1878. Speaking of churches, There's also St Nicholas's Church, a Grade II listed building. The old 12th century church, St Mary's, along with the old village, were both lost to sea erosion. The new church, dedicated to St Nicholas, who was the patron saint of seafarers, was consecrated in 1488. By 1575, however, it was already decaying, with the roof blowing off of it in 1609, and thus becoming ruinous. Thanks to hard work and funding, it was reopened in 2023. The central promenade was built in 1910 and then extended in 1920 and 1960. During the Second World War, people saw planes flying overhead as nearby Hull was blitzed. In fact, some say that incendiary bombs bounced off the lighthouse and then landed in someone's back garden. Fishing never really took off in Withernsea as it was so close to Hull, and thus it got most of its income from tourism. This spurred the building of the iconic pier. Construction began in 1875 under the guidance of engineer Thomas Cargill. It cost £12,000 to make, or roughly around £800,000 in today's money. It opened in 1878, it cost a penny for admission, and it stretched out for 1,200 feet. Over time, however, it was reduced by accidents. In a storm in 1880, the coal barge Saffron took 200 foot from the middle after smashing into it, and then the Jabez hit the end of the pier. In 1890, the fishing boat Genesta destroyed half of it by smashing into it. It was reduced and reduced in size until the remnants were destroyed in 1903. The only surviving parts are the iconic pier towers, which were designed to look like Conway Castle. Withernsea has had a vibrant and welcoming community for centuries, and in 1924 even had its own carnival. While Withernsea of course now is known for its seaside, we of course have seen over our little journey together that it also has a rich and extensive history, some of which can still be seen today, some of which you'll have to make sure you really look out for. All I'll say is that Withernsea is a very, very beautiful coastal place, and while we might not think of history when we visit the coast, all I want you to do when you visit here is to look out at the sand, the sea, and all of the lives and all of the places here and think, wow, this really has seen so much life.